Written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, and directed by Rick Rosenthal, Halloween 2 continues the story of the night Michael Myers came home. Even after Laurie is taken to the hospital, the killing doesn't stop. So without further ado, these are some things you didn't know about Halloween 2.
It's time, Michael.
The mask that we see Michael wear is the same from the first film. The reason for it looking a bit different is due to fading over the years, as well as how it was stored by Nick Castle and Deborah Hill during and after shooting. Some things were taken from Curtis Richards' novelization of Halloween 1978. There are identical lines such as "You don't know what death is," and "It heightens my sense of security" in reference to Loomis's gun. Warlock is the shortest Michael Myers at 5'9". During filming, he wore lifts to appear taller. Given how this film is set on the same night as the first, and that Curtis had cut her hair to be much shorter, she had to wear a wig that matched her previous style as closely as possible. This is the final cinematic appearance of Lucille Benson. The one providing the voice for Alice's friend over the phone is Nancy Kyes. The scene with the mother and child with a razor blade stuck in his mouth was supposed to be a nod to the Anthology series Carpenter and Hill had planned. Dick Warlock had a cameo earlier in the film. He is the police officer driving the cruiser that accidentally hits Ben Tramer. Yes, Warlock did do the complete stunt himself, which was accomplished in one take. Two of Warlock's children appear in the film. Billy plays Craig, who inquires about Ben Tramer to Deputy Gary. Lance is the teen with the boombox that Michael walks by. During the shooting of Janet's death scene, Anna Alicia cut her eye when she hit a desk. This resulted in 12 stitches and the cafeteria scene being filmed later, and from different angles while Alicia wore makeup to hide the stitches. Apparently, the water in the therapy tub was far from hot. Not only that, but according to Pamela Susan Shoop, she wasn't thrilled at all with doing a nude scene. Her manager was the one who encouraged her to do it despite the fact that Shoop hates horror movies. It took 2 days to shoot the scene, and on the second she was crying on her way to the set. While Shoop had been promised a closed set, there were 19 people, mostly men, there. At one point, Rosenthal had started pushing for a completely nude scene, but Deborah Hill told Shoop she didn't have to do it. The word Samhain, that was drawn on the chalkboard in the school, is a reference to a pre-Christian Celtic Sabbat. It's typically held on October 31st and November 1st, as the end of the harvest season and start of winter. Yes, Guest did perform the stunt where Jimmy slips on blood and hits the ground. It was also shot in one take. Shockingly, the scene where Laurie shoots Michael twice is not realistic. Given that the gun she's given by Loomis is a Colt Trooper Mark III, it would have essentially exploded Michael's head. The bloody tears effect was achieved through the use of a bulb of fake blood on the inner forehead of the mask. When Warlock stumbles back and puts his hand on the mask, he releases the blood. In total, Michael was shot 14 times during this film. According to the cast and crew who were present during the climactic explosion scene, it was bigger than anticipated. There were cast members outside of the soundstage who felt it shake. Jamie Lee Curtis actually fell when it went off. Like I mentioned in my review, we're left to fill in the blanks in regards to Jimmy's fate. There is an alternate ending when Laurie is in the ambulance that shows Jimmy survived and is going to the next hospital with her. Every film in the franchise has ended on Halloween night, except this one. The events of this film actually go through to November 1st. This is the last movie in the Halloween franchise where Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis are together. A little over 5 months after Halloween 2 was released, a film called Visiting Hours was released. Interestingly, both movies feature a skull in their posters, and the latter features a theme that was specifically designed after Carpenter's iconic score. The shots of the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital were filmed at the Morningside Hospital at 8711 South Harvard, Los Angeles. It was also featured in Society, 1989, which stars Warlock's son, Billy. Unfortunately, you can no longer visit this filming location as it was torn down. Harvard Yard Senior Apartments replaced it. The story was originally supposed to take place in a high-rise apartment building. We already know that Carpenter was not thrilled about a sequel to Halloween 1978. However, aside from being encouraged to be involved in some way, even if he didn't want to direct, one reason why he decided to be part of it was to earn back what he felt he was owed by the studio. Another reason is that he liked the idea of giving someone a chance to direct. This didn't make the process any easier though, as Carpenter has said that the only thing helping him through the screenplay was a 6-pack of Budweiser every day. Carpenter was involved in reshoots and editing as well, and this included filming extra scenes for the television cut. The end result wasn't something he was happy with, and he has previously called Halloween 2 an abomination and a horrible movie. David Lynch was considered to direct for a time. Tommy Lee Wallace was originally set to direct, though he was disappointed with the decision to have the sequel continue directly after the events of Halloween 1978. When he read the finished script, he was immediately unhappy with how much blood and violence there was in it. Thus, he left the project. There were tensions between Carpenter and Rosenthal over the script. The first draft, Carpenter compared to being as scary as an episode of Quincy M.E., 1976. Even after the script was edited, he still wasn't satisfied with its tone, so he took on the task himself and gave the plot more action and gory scenes, which Rosenthal was not pleased with. In one of the original versions of the script, there was a scene where a reporter deals with her car breaking down and asking for help from a truck driver, only to turn him away for hitting on her. When she opens the trunk, she finds Michael Myers, who of course murders her and steals her car. Apparently, this is something that's included in the novelization of this, and the previous film. So how did Warlock get the role? Apparently when he went to audition, he found the Myers mask and put it on. He then proceeded to go to Rosenthal's office and stand there. Rosenthal spent a good bit of time questioning him about who he was, to which Warlock didn't reply. Eventually he took the mask off and asked to get the part. What the boy with the razor blade is referencing is a Halloween urban myth, with some basis in reality. This is a combination of stories of razor blades and needles being found in candy that often turned out to be hoaxes, and a few instances where someone laced candy, or Tylenol, with toxic substances as a targeted event. Dr. Mixter got his name from one of Rick Rosenthal's real friends. Warlock actually made the effort to ensure his fellow actor's safety. During Bud's death scene, he instructed Rossi to arch his back and arms while he gave 4 tugs. On the 4th tug, he would go limp and Warlock would cushion his fall. While Nick Castle was able to keep the mask after the first film, he returned it for this one. Due to the assumption that this would be the final Halloween film, the mask was then given to Warlock to keep, along with the jumpsuit, boots, knife, and scalpel. Making Halloween 2 in 3D was considered. According to Deborah Hill, we investigated a number of 3D processes, but they were far too expensive for this particular project. Also, most of the projects we do involve a lot of night shooting. Evil lurks at night. It's hard to do that in 3D. Even though it didn't reach the same heights as the original Halloween, Halloween 2 still did better than other horror movies at the time, including Friday the 13th Part 2 and The Howling. Interestingly enough, this is one of the very few slashers in 1981 that did not face the wrath of the MPAA. It was able to remain uncut while films like My Bloody Valentine and Friday the 13th Part 2 were heavily cut. Halloween 2 was banned in West Germany, Iceland, and Norway. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like to let me know. See you later.